Alright guys, I'm not sure when the last time you saw the box was. I'm installing electrical on this thing, so I'm actually going to bring you guys down and we'll look at the bottom of the box here. I'm going to drill out that plate for the main run for the electrical. So one of the problems I had was I had to shim this box right here at the corners. I couldn't do it inside, up in the middle because the box bent in. And what was happening, I'll take you around front here. Let's see if you guys are not facing the right way. There we go. So the way this box is manufactured, the old ones I'm used to, they don't have sides on them. Well, the new box has these edges. And they have to fit in here, and I had framed it out like this was going to go on flat. Well, it actually needs to tuck inside. So I had to shim, and I'm sure it bent the stud a little bit. It's probably bowed a little bit. I had to shim the box in far enough so that the main cover would clear. And I actually took my saw and let this stud out just a little bit, just maybe one saw blade width. And so when this goes out, we were building this for here on site, but now that it's going to go out, we're going to sell it out. I'm going to include this conduit, for whoever ends up digging the main run and then getting it inspected. I got a 50 amp main and a 20 amp breaker for the building, for the outlets and the lights. The other thing that turns out is the building itself, even with 2x6 floors, sags in the middle. So I had to put in that shim. I had to shim up in the middle right there. And so you can see, in fact, I still have to bring it up some more. So I'm going to clear this side off, and I'm going to set a string up and measure how far down I am. And then I'll shim the floor up. And I got to do the same to the other side too. So I'll stop you guys right there. I'm going to put blocking in up in here. It would be like fire blocking. I'm not doing it for that purpose. Some of the studs, as they dry out, are turning a little bit, so I'm gonna block them so that they don't warp as bad as they are in the sun. I see some issues on some of my studs. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get this blocked up, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, so the last time I think you guys were, let me see if that's good. Maybe a little taller. Alright guys, so the last time you were in here, I got a tarp on the roof because it started raining here in Oregon. So I believe the last time you guys saw this, there wasn't even all the walls up. So there's not much to report or talk to you about there. I built the walls to size, and then the last couple days before it started raining, it was still really hot, probably in the 80s or 90s, probably 90s, low 90s. And so what ended up happening with a lot of the common studs is they warped in place, meaning after they were in, they dried and cupped or bowed or did whatever. So I went ahead and put this fire blocking in. I know this isn't probably common in the industry anymore. I'm sure certain jobs require it, but I went ahead and did it. So I did this wall first, and one of the things I thought I could get away with is just cutting the blocking at 13 or 14 and a half and just going. And what you end up finding out is the wall starts to grow or shrink, meaning that these add up in between studs and you don't come up with the number you want. So what I did is I pulled all of them out to about the middle here, and this stud actually measured correct from the end, meaning I checked the bottom measurement and then I went to the middle of the stud. Then what had happened is the wall started getting longer and longer in the center here, and by the time it was out there, it had bowed that last stud because they were all pushing. So every two studs I would check and see which way I needed to go, and then I would cut the next one short if I was pushing the wall, or I would cut it long if I was pulling the wall. And so that I ended up having to do that all the way around the whole thing. Ended up having to kind of measure as I cut the blocking. So blocking's not fun. It takes a while. If I take you guys off the stand here, one sec. And what I'll do is I'll show you basically, so when you come in and put the blocking in, the screws for this one go this way straight through, and then when you're doing this side, they go in on top. And so that allowed me, if I had to pull one out, what I could do is pull these two out and those two out, move this stud down, and then I was able to get at these and pull that out or do whatever I needed to do with it. So I don't know why I got the lag here, but so you can see I basically did blocking all the way around. I also cut all my holes in for electrical at the same height all the way around. Got all my holes roughed in, got all my wiring roughed in. And then I have a separate circuit that's going to be the lights, so that's all the run for that. I'll put a GFI over here and it'll protect the whole run. If I GFI that box, the rest of them are protected. So then what I forgot to do was frame in this window. So this window is a bit of a cheat. I don't remember if there's a rule or not in framing where if a window is small enough that you don't have to have trimmers, but I cheated. Basically, this is my trimmer. I put in that block with 5 screws. That's what's holding my sill plate up. I didn't want to have to cut through my blocking. I was being lazy. So here is my window. It's a 24 by 24, and I was able to just frame in from the commons and find center of the wall and all that good stuff. So this stud obviously is center of the wall, and then I measured out 12 1/4 on each side. And my rough opening is 24.5 by 24.5, I believe. So then what I did is I leveled the floor. So I got the floor, put this down. Oopsie. Got the floor all level, and then what I did is I squared the wall with these 2 straps. I used just ratchet straps to bring the wall in where I wanted it, and then just locked it down and checked both sides so it's good to go. And now it's ready for siding. Well, when I went to stick the siding on, I realized that up here, because of the way I have this designed, the siding goes up past the top plate, and the reason it does is because it's going to actually fill in between the roof rafters, so I don't have to cut extra trim or whatever. It's going to stick up and touch the roof sheathing. So I needed a little filler piece there. So right now I'm in the process of cutting this other one in over here. I ran strapping. You guys can't see it, but well, you can. I'll go out here. There's the panel. I ran strapping right there on the wall. Can you guys see that? And the reason I did that was because if I pick this up with a crane, which I possibly plan on doing to set it, it means that with all this metal bracket, it means that I won't tear anything off. This whole building will pick up with 2 points with a crane. And I can, if I have to go over somebody's house and pick it up in the air, I can do that. There's A35s that tie that big post there down. And so I shouldn't have any problems with being able to pick this up with a crane. So there's the little cheapy window. It's one of those shed windows they have at Lowe's. They're real cheap. They're like 35 bucks, something like that. Let's see, did I miss anything else for you guys? I put blocking, so also the siding goes past the floor by 1/4 of an inch. A lot of guys leave that lower plate exposed. Well, I didn't use heat pressure treat. I don't see a lot of guys doing that. So what those are little ledgers that are ripped down 1/4 of an inch. So when I put the siding on, it actually hangs past the bottom plate 1/4 of an inch. And then when they go to set the building, they'll actually use these blocks, but they'll use a wooden shim to bring it up so it doesn't, or they can, yeah, they'll have to level it anyways. So they will use a jack and we'll get it all level whenever it gets set. So originally this was supposed to be for our property, but the situation where we were going to use it kind of blew up, so we're going to sell it. But anyways, so there's the window framed in. Those two side ones allow me to adjust the width if I need to. I made the opening a little big, so I had to pad out the opening with little bits of plywood or out exterior siding is what I used. And then I'll be putting this back wall on first and then working my way forward from there, because I got a bow in the floor I got to fix too. So anyways, guys, this is what's going on so far. We'll get back with you here in a little bit.